Hello, beautiful patrons. It is I, Sarah Evergreen, here with your new moon in Aries reading. I put out a newsletter yesterday that erroneously said that it is in Taurus. It's right on the cusp, so a little bit of confusion there on my end. But here we are with our new moon in Aries, and everything I put out in that newsletter talking about feeling threatened, feeling like we have to defend our ground. I think that energy still feels so very appropriate, probably even more so with the new moon in Aries and the eclipse happening at the same time, solar eclipse happening. So we're going to roll forward with the reading that I released yesterday. And I'm also debuting one of my new corsets for you, my lovely patrons. This is also going to come out on a video here in a week or two, but I'm learning how to breathe in it, so bear with me. So this reading starts with the anchor card of the Seven of Wands. This card shows a figure on top of a hill battling 6 other wands coming at him from underneath. And this can indicate a need to definitely defend your ground, feel like you need to make sure that your territory is marked and that nobody is going to intrude. It can also mean that you're making threats up. There are things that are feeling threatening that actually aren't, because we don't see any of the other figures in this card. All of these wands are coming up from beneath, and they could very well be wielded by nothing but the original figure's mind, story, illusion. So it's important to be aware of those distinctions and allow yourself to look more clearly at what may or may not be happening in reality. Ask yourself the question, is it true? Is it really true? And can I know without a doubt that it is true? Working a little bit with the work of Byron Katie. Moving on to the first card in the spread. What do I think is the nature of the threat? This is what's coming through on your end. What appears to be true in the moment. Let's see. Oop, this one wants to come out. We have the 9 of Cups. Shows a figure sitting in front of 9 empty cups, wearing a pretty self-satisfied expression on his face. So what this says to me is that the nature of the threat may be that you feel like you've got all this stuff that needs to be defended, all these things that you've worked really hard for, all these things that have come to fruition. And something out there is pushing against that. Something out there is trying to reach in and take all of the things, or some of the things, that you have, spent so much time gathering, nurturing. Moving on to the next card. What is the true nature of the threat? This is what's behind the story. What is actually going on out there? Let's see. Oh, here we go. And we pull the Chariot. This shows a very well-bedecked figure in a chariot drawn by 2 sphinxes, a black and a white sphinx. This card comes at the end of the first line of the Major Arcana. The Major Arcana is split into 3 lines, one of the ways that it can be split. The first line being I am, showing up here in the world, learning how to navigate with the 3D. The second line being I cannot remember at the moment, but essentially it's me, us, and everything, the 3 lines. So the end of the first line is the invitation to transition from me to us and being able to see the world in a bigger way. You can see on this card that the chariot rider holds a symbol from each of the cards in the previous 6 arcana. And this indicates that he's gone through every step of that phase and taken what he needed from each of those experiences. And now, moving forward is the opportunity to release those things. So coming in at this position, this card means to me that there's an invitation to start laying down the things that have felt like identity and that are ready to be released so that you can move forward with more facility and with more speed into the next evolution of self, essentially. And Aries is defined by that I am feeling. It's the first sign in the zodiac. It comes forth. It's spring. It's here I am world. Look at me. You're not going to tell me that I can't be here. It's embodiment, pure embodiment. So when we're transitioning from that into, oh, there's more than just the I here. There is the we. There is more exploration with other people that I can take advantage of or engage with, rather. We need to let go of some of the things that have helped us navigate learning how to be the I in the world. And that can feel very threatening to the ego identity while not being an actual threat, while being an invitation to evolve, to become bigger, to learn more about yourself and the world. Our next card is, how can I fortify my boundaries in response to this threat? So how can you stand more firmly in yourself and who you truly are in response to the need to shift identity, shift your ego, and let things go that are no longer serving you and are actually holding you back? What boundaries, what strength can you draw on to fortify those boundaries? Ooh, I pulled this for myself this morning. This feels very accurate. The Three of Swords. This card can feel very threatening when it first shows up. It's a heart pierced by three swords. Many of the swords cards do have that kind of energy to them when you first see them, but it's in the interpretation of the entire picture where we get more clarity about what beauty and medicine this card is bringing. So we see the Three of Swords, the three swords piercing the heart. The swords are, of course, associated with the element of air being communication and thought patterns. So when we are hurt, the initial hurt happens, and then we start to build stories around the hurt, stories around the pain, and those become the swords that get stuck in the wound and keep it hurting over and over and over again, because we have built up this entire, honestly, fantasy around what that initial wound means. And this can keep us so incredibly stuck and in heartache for years, for our entire lives, if we let it. So how can I fortify my boundaries in response to this threat? What I'm getting here is that it's time to start examining those swords, because those swords are perforating your boundaries, because it's creating an illusion of what is. So again, to go back to the work of Byron Katie, look at each of these stories that are keeping this pain point open and start asking yourself, is this true? Is this really true? Can I know for certain? And if you want to go even deeper into the work of Byron Katie, look up her stuff on the internet. There's so much information about it. And start asking yourself those questions. Start doing the turnarounds. The turnarounds that Byron Katie recommends are like, if I have a particular story, I change some of the words. So if the pain is, this person left me because I'm unworthy, you turn that around and say, this person stayed because I'm unworthy, or this person left because I'm so worthy. Things like this. And then on to the last card of this reading. What is this threat here to teach me about myself? So, what is this threat here to teach me about myself? What is the invitation to let go of old ego identities here to teach me about myself? And while that might be on the surface a kind of easy answer, it's here to teach me more about my true self. Oh, look at that. The moon just wanted so badly to come out. What is this threat here to teach me about myself? Intuition. Learning to trust the deeper, darker knowledge. learning to move forward in a world that can feel like it's full of illusion. The moon card, when we're in that space, the glow of the moon creates this kind of silvery, shadowy, like what is true, what is false, what is real, how can I know for certain? And you have to go deep into your intuition, deep into your own personal knowing in order to navigate things that might feel very strange and very changeable. And I think this is particularly pertinent coming up with the new moon of Aries. What are the threats that are actually real? And what are the ones that you have created a story around? What are the things that feel threatening that you've moved into this space of illusion with? And back to the work of Byron Katie. Is it true? Is it really true? And can I know that for certain? And I think I'm feeling really moved to emphasize that so much. Is it true? Is it really true? And can I know that for certain? Allow yourself to move into the space of questioning those stories, questioning the threats, to see exactly what is showing up in a more clear way. One of the interesting things about the work of Byron Katie is that on those turnaround questions, you start to see that all of the statements have truth in them. And so they left me because I'm unworthy, and they left me because I'm so worthy, and they stayed because I'm unworthy, and they stayed because I'm worthy. Like all of these different statements have an element of truth in them. So we can find that these stories that we've created, they're very malleable. And it's up to us to decide which ones we want to rest our belief in, and we can shift that. Thank you so much for being patrons and for watching this video. I hope that this reading was illuminating to you in some way. If so, please reach out and let me know. If you have any questions on any of these cards or their positions, also let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, my lovelies, as always, take care of yourselves and use your voice.